Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on Play on GAA with me, Seamus Brady, your host, and for this one I'm going to run through all of the action which took place across the Allianz League in Gaelic football and in camogie across all of the divisions here on the channel. So before we get into it, please like, subscribe, share and comment, all that good stuff. It really helps us out here on the channel, and let's crack on with these games. Starting in Division 1, this is Division 1 recap segment now. Tyrone 115, Kerry 2 goals and 9 points. So it's mad to me that even in the form that Tyrone have been in, where they've been up and down, they've still beaten Kerry, and they've beaten them for the third time in a row. So definitely Kerry will not be happy, especially when you consider that they made a very fast start. They hit the back of the net and they went 1-3 to 1 point ahead. However, a fluke goal for Tyrone, which very much resulted in Shane Ryan pretty much throwing the ball into his own net, that really fired Tyrone back into the game. And they hung in there in a half where I thought Kerry were probably the better team. Matty Donnelly hitting the leveler on half time to make it 1-7 to 1-7. In the second half, Tyrone got the first point to go 1-8 to 1-7 ahead, but then Paul Murphy hit the back of the net, set up by Donald O'Sullivan to put Kerry back in the driving seat. Tyrone hit 2 points on the bounce to level the game, with Peter Hart hitting a boomer to level it at 110 to 2-7. Matty Donnelly and Dara Canavan then both hit brilliant points to extend Tyrone's lead. A beauty from Donald O'Sullivan brought it back to a 1 point game, but it proved to be Kerry's last score of the game, and Tyrone battled on, hitting the last 2 points to seal a 3 point victory. So that's a hugely significant victory for Tyrone. Like, make no mistake about it. The fact that they've, beaten Kerry, they've given themselves a massive chance of survival. I do agree that it's the league that no one really wants to win. When you look at it, only Mayo and Galway have lost less than 2 games in the Allianz League, having played 5. That tells you all you need to know. Roscommon were on top of the world, and now they've lost back-to-back games. And speaking of that game, this was the next one. Mayo 116, Roscommon 211. So Roscommon go from winning 3 on the bounce to losing 2 on the bounce. But this one was always going to be a really, really tricky game. When you consider the form that Mayo are in, and you also consider the fact that they are going to play each other in the Connacht Championship, you could definitely argue that there would be a hell of a lot of shadow boxing going on. 15,000 people packed into Castlebar to watch this game, where Mayo went 7 points to 0 ahead in the first 20 minutes. Roscommon cannot keep doing that. They cannot let that. Has to be a one-day thing. That has to be just a blip. That has to just be a bad day at the office. You ever let a team get 7 points ahead of you, you deserve what you get. And Roscommon fought back quite brilliantly. Mayo never do things straightforward, and somehow this game still ended up only being a 2 point win for Mayo when you consider that they were 7 points ahead at one stage. Tommy Conroy was the one who hit the first point. James Carr got it 1 to make it 3-0, and Fionn McDonough got 1 to make it 6-0. Those were the standout points in that 7 point blitz. Roscommon only hit their first point from play in the 25th minute to make it 7 points to 2. And then in the second half, one of the scores of the game, Cillian O'Connor hit a beauty to make it 10-5. Enda Smith hit 2 to respond to that one. And then a terrible mix-up in a Roscommon defence led to Jack Carney scoring probably the easiest goal he will ever score to make it 112 to 8 points. And once again, Mayo were 7 points ahead early in the second half. However, this is when Roscommon took over. Enda Smith hit a beautiful goal to make it 112 to 19. Mayo missed a goal chance with Ryan O'Donoghue hand passing it across the goal, and the panned effort hit the bar. And then straight after, in injury time, Connor Cox hit in Roscommon's second goal to make it just a 1 point game. And somehow you were looking at this saying, now Roscommon actually going to get something out of this game. But then Matthew Oran stood up with a clutch point to make it a 116 to 211 lead for Mayo. However, again, even at that stage, they nearly blew it, because Ben O'Carroll got a shot at the goal in the penalty box in the last minute. It was blocked by Dermot O'Connor, but they never do it easy, do they? Pure entertainment, but at the same time, McStay will be looking for that ruthless streak that Mayo haven't really had over the last while. A hugely significant victory took place for Galway. They beat Monaghan by 113 to 10 points. So Monaghan, even though they have had back-to-back wins previously over Donegal and over Roscommon. They are not out of the woods yet. They need one more victory, I think, to stay up, and they need to beat Tyrone at home or Mayo away. Both of those are going to be very, very difficult. Shane Walsh returned for Galway, definitely a good sign. It was a very even start, 4 points each. Paul Conroy's beauty was the pick of the bunch. Micheál Bannigan, his point and his wrestle with Peter Cook just before half-time, he played a massive role in it because his point put Monaghan into the driving seat, and then he had a wrestle with Peter Cook straight after, which resulted in the Moycullen powerhouse being sent off. In my opinion, absolutely justified. He does drop his knee clearly on Bannigan, but I think Bannigan might have been a little bit more involved than we think. Definitely it was a two-way scuffle. It wasn't just Peter Cook beating up Bannigan. In the second half, Sean Kelly had a great goal chance, but he put it over the bar. He hit the crossbar with it. That score made it 9 points apiece. Two Rob Finnerty beauties put Galway ahead by 12 points to 10. He was really stepping up. And then came the crucial moment. Johnny Heaney capitalised on a mistake in the Monaghan defence under a dropping ball, and he slammed it to the back of the net in the 63rd minute to make it 112 to 10 points. One more Galway point to win and one more Monaghan score, but it ended up being Galway 113, Monaghan 10 points. So as I said, Monaghan did some great work against Tyrone, but they are not out of the woods by any means yet. So they did some great work against Donegal and against Roscommon, but they are not out of the woods yet. They need to beat Tyrone next week. That would be some game to watch there. And then we're going to look at the last game, which happened in Division 1. And in my opinion, this one has very, very severe consequences. Armagh, 13 points, Donegal, 10 points. This happened at the Athletic Grounds, but for me, this result means that Donegal are relegated. I can't see them turning it around from here. The main thing with Donegal is that they just look like they've absolutely no threat at all up front. They look like they've completely no threat on goal. They didn't really get inside the D area to shoot. They literally were, again, reliant on boomers from out on the sideline. They still are without McBrearty, but they've looked harmless when McBrearty's been there. Just look at the Tyrone game. Armagh, on the other hand, didn't even look that good, but they just had that little bit extra than Donegal. They shot into a 4-1 lead. A Stephen Campbell beauty made it 5 points to 2, and at half-time, Armagh were 7 points to 3 ahead. Aidan Forker hit the score at a half, and outside of the boot, Corker. In the second half, Hugh McFadden came in. He definitely made a good impact. He brought them back to 1 point, 8 points to 7, but Andrew Murnan responded to make it 9-7. Two more for Armagh made it 11-7. A Jamie Grant point, a Jamie Brennan point, and a Jason McGee point made it 11-10 with 1 minute to go. However, when the going got tough, Armagh got going, and their best player, in my opinion, right up there with Rian O'Neill, Charlie O'Burns, drove up the pitch, won a free, which Rian O'Neill converted, and then Charlie Oak scored one of his own to see Armagh over the line. Charlie Oak is one hell of a player, whether he's playing at wing-back or at midfield. So for Armagh, the potential of a league final is still there. For Donegal, I think relegation now is almost imminent, and I think they should look at what Mayo have done, look at what Roscommon have done, look at what Galway have done, and look at how they've bred in, the next generation into their team. And because it is the end of an era for Donegal. Michael Murphy's gone. You're looking at the likes of Liam McGee going as well. And, more and more players are starting to slip out the door. And for Donegal, there is now McBrearty's the only link to that All-Ireland winning team. So it is the end of an era, and they need to, bring in the next generation.